Thank you, Major.
Next item, please.
Easiest presentation you've ever had.
Yeah, I'm bringing Major Weaver with me in my next presentation, so he'll hang out.
Next item is discussion of the the construction bid for the capacity improvements for Medlock Ridge Road, Phase 1, from Medlock Crossing Parkway to St. Ives Country Club.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is, I'm sure, where we leap ahead of schedule. I'd like to say with a straight face. This is the project you have before you is a Medlock Bridge capacity project between at the State Bridge Road intersection between St. Ives and Medlock Crossing. And just a bit of a timeline for you. In July of 15, the council initially approved what was a Medlock Bridge Phase 1 as a congestion relief project. The original design, if you recall, was to have a flex lane project. It was ultimately rejected by GDOT and turned into 3 permanent lanes per side. January 2016, the Medlock Bridge Road and phasing with full lanes shown was initially rolled out to the City Council for review, and ultimately in October 2016, the phased approach of Medlock Bridge Road in its totality was rolled out, and the Council decided to proceed with the initial phase, which is the one you have before you right now. Part of the reason you have this, the immediacy, is a lot of the congestion relief and troubles from St. Ives entering onto Medlock Bridge Road, particularly in the morning due to school traffic. Concurrently, the comprehensive planning process as part of the strategic transportation plan is reviewing the road network right now, including different possibilities for what Medlock Bridge Road can be. This project, by that token, was also approved on the T-SPLOST list as a 6-lane capacity project going forward. So I just wanted everybody to be aware of the interest in the road going forward. The decision you have before you tonight is to award or not award the bid to Georgia Development Partners to proceed with the actual construction. This is a project that's been designed, which you've seen before, and ultimately permitted through the Georgia Department of Transportation on State Route 141. And at this point, I'd like Tom Black to come up and sort of walk you through what the design parameters are, just to give you the lay of the land.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. John, if you can hear me out there, go ahead and flip to the other one. Drawing. There you go. This is the permitted drawing. Go to the next page, if you would. Oh, John. There you go. You'll see the areas in blue. These are the actual areas of new paving that will be installed.
That section, just to orient us,
Yeah,
which
exactly.
section is this? From where to where?
This is just below, just above Medlock Crossing Parkway. This is the one going into the shopping center on the upper side of it before you get to the steakhouse here on the corner.
Oh, okay.
You with me?
Yes.
Is that by the Target? Is that coming
Target's
north?
over here.
Is that coming north?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's going
Got it.
north.
Honey Bacon.
So that is the entrance of that road that goes down the driveway to Target? What that you
It
just pointed
eventually
to?
goes to Target. Yeah, it goes
Okay.
by the shopping center and past where the steakhouse will be on the
Yep.
left.
Okay.
All right, John. Next. This is coming up on the back up one. On the intersection here, which you'll see primarily what we're doing is cutting back these islands so we can carry 3 lanes across. If you remember our first phase, we had 3 lanes from Old Alabama up to State Bridge. The second phase is 3 lanes from State Bridge down to Old Alabama. Now this is one we're going to pick up and carry the 3 lanes across State Bridge and go up to St. Ives and come down from St. Ives, carry 3 lanes across the intersection.
Everything you were just pointing to is 141, correct?
Yes, sir.
And what we're looking at from the top to the bottom is State Bridge Road.
This
Yep.
is State Bridge. This is north and south on Medlock Bridge. This is west State Bridge, east on State Bridge. Next drawing, John. You see there's one little blip. We've got to add some pavement up here. This is above, this is where the cemetery, and I was right in that area. It's too quick for me. There you go. We're having a little paving right in there. So there's not a lot of paving. It's more.
Reorient us. What were you just pointing at? What does that driveway go into?
This is,
Beyond Rouge.
No. That's Johns Creek High School.
what is the name of that restaurant?
Beyond Rouge.
Yeah.
Where's the Johns Creek High School in?
North of all this.
Yeah,
Okay.
north.
That's the billboard
Hospital's
up
further on
the
up.
the
It'll be another slide.
Not funny.
This is going in by the car wash,
Yeah,
and the next one's, John, one more.
So now we're at St. Ives,
Not quite.
okay? So that's Johns Creek High School entrance, okay?
Keep going. Well, no, this is the other one. This is into the little office park over there.
That's a
But when you're not showing blue, you're just reconfiguring the existing
Right,
pavement.
blue is new pavement. If it's not blue, it's not new pavement. Now, to be 100% honest with what's going on here, this is new curb and gutter coming down through here. We're going to eliminate the U-turn. The
Which U-turn?
southbound back to northbound U-turn, once we add the 3 lanes through there.
And how will those people make that move?
Oh, is
They'll have
that
to
where
go
you-
They'll have to go all the way down to the
Is
corner.
that where
and
you
do it.
used to go in the Publix and you cut that off? Is that?
No.
This is where we have people coming out of the school,
South of St.
going
Ives.
across, they'll be going across 3 lanes now, and trying to get over to make a U-turn to go back, a U-turn into 3 lanes going north. It's just not safe without a signal. So we're gonna force them back down to the
You couldn't
signal.
even make a left into, so that's a covered median today, correct?
No.
No,
There's a break,
this,
as
you
you,
can see, this is the existing curb and gutter, and existing island right here.
I'm not talking about there, where you show a break. Is there a
Yes.
break right there that I'm
Yes,
seeing?
there
so Mike, that's between
Look at
Beyond
that
Rouge and
movement into that
Burkhalter's office.
business
That's
park.
across from the car wash.
No, no, no.
No, it's up.
It's not.
It's
no.
up. It's where those,
It's between, on the west side of the highway, it's between Beyond Rouge and Burkhalter's offices.
yeah.
Right.
Right.
And-
Where Doug
and-
Rust's
and the
office
old-
is.
the old-
Publix,
the old
we come
school.
out,
Where Doug
we
Rust's
U-turn,
office is.
we go back to
in
the
that
highway.
little area.
I thought he said that was the entrance that goes into where the dermatologist's office is.
No, that's up farther north.
Further up, next slide.
Got it. Okay.
Next slide, John. All right, this is going into the school, and that's where the dermatologist is, right there.
And the bottom is where we're starting to get to St. Ives.
This is creating a new decel lane entrance into St. Ives
Okay?
to carry the 3 lanes through. Next slide, John. You see it continues on, this is new pavement to here. We're negotiating with St. Ives on that now.
And it has no impact north of there?
This will only be 2, it's 3 lanes, but it'll taper quick to 2. This is phase 2. That's the next phase to go from St. Ives northbound up to McGinnis Ferry.
So eventually there's an impact on both sides of St. Ives entrance.
Yes, sir. Not bad. It's not bad at all. It's very minor. The majority of it is existing pavement. You know, we're talking about some areas maybe that much wide.
But you're gonna have 3 lanes going to 2 right there.
Yes, temporarily.
2.2 miles State Bridge. It goes to 3.
We'll be moving forward with the other. It's asking a permit on it.
Are we affecting any other decel or lanes in this?
The only details is back down where the bank, the car wash is.
Uh-huh.
Yes, we are.
And we're taking away that one, or?
Taking away 2, yes, we are.
But you're
We looked
replacing
at,
it,
we looked
right?
at the volumes
Well,
of turns there and made that determination. The volumes were not high enough, we don't think that it was
So in this
critical.
instance, because it's St. Ives, the volume justified adding back more decel and XL.
There is, yes.
So the original plans had that out, now you've put it back.
No, it was there.
Where's their acceleration lane?
There's no, we don't want an acceleration lane.
Didn't we have one
By
before?
Quick Trip.
It's, we would not put one back in, neither would GDOT, they're too dangerous, cause too many wrecks. No more ACL lines. They cause, yeah, cause you to have side swipe.
So the ones that are at the bank, is it gonna affect the turns? I mean, I know you're saying there's not many, but is that gonna affect the business at all?
I don't think so.
So I
You've
think-
got 3 lanes to carry through there, and you've got it's on a straightaway, it's not a hill, it's anything that gives an adequate signal, should be time to
Doesn't stop
slow
people
down.
from
and
turning, it
The
just,
turn, well, so they're gonna stop and turn and try.
Well, but you know,
You don't have
the
lane.
analogy, when we went 3 lanes on the other side of State Bridge, if you're turning where the Starbucks is and.
We got rid of diesel
Yeah,
lanes.
we got rid of the decel lane, people are still making right-hand
Yeah.
turns, and it's operating fine. So I think this is the same example, just in a different area.
We're trying to get the volumes or get the capacity up with a minimum amount of impact on our property owners. That was part of the charge.
And we're still heading toward the lighted crosswalk on the south side of that intersection, right?
Yes, sir. About got that worked out. It's
Except now
Per
you're
meeting
offering two
with
more
the-
lanes.
Well, that's why you need it even more, yeah.
this particular issue, if you can see, this is where the existing island is now. That's going to be pulled back. You can see the limits of the new island. It'll be there.
What does that do to their guardhouse?
Nothing. It's down here.
What does it do to their wall and their flowers?
Won't affect anything.
Just doesn't cut in that far.
No, sir. I'm not guaranteeing we're not going to get into a flower bed, but, if we do, we'll put it back.
Have we met,
Ash will be back there to make sure that I pay for it.
like McGinnis Ferry, have we met with the residents to talk through the change as to what they would impact, how it would affect them, what they should realize, all that?
We've met with the HOA and we've discussed this, numerous times within public here about the project. And it was on the T-Splosh list too.
Tom, what, if any, negative secondary impacts do you need to mitigate as a result of this widening, and what action have you taken to do so?
In this area, I don't think there's any.
So the extra lanes you don't believe will cause increased noise?
No, sir, I do not.
And why is that?
It's not going to be any more noise than what you got right there, I don't think. It'd be very minimal. When you got peak hours, it's moving through there fairly slow and the noise limit is down considerably. And then I don't know that there's going to be a tremendous amount of
So if you're actually successful and the cars are actually moving, right, as opposed to
Yes.
bumper to bumper, which
Yes.
is the usual reaction
Yes.
during peak hours?
I don't
Will that
think
increase the noise or not?
I don't think it will be enough to ring the meter to require a cause and effect.
But this isn't gonna really change. I mean, it's still going to 2 lanes right there, so it's just gonna back up right there.
North, not south.
That is going north.
Right.
It's got two
You're talking about
lanes
the
after
side
that.
closest to Midlock
Right,
Ridge.
you're talking about
Mine was
phase
a general
2.
question.
Phase 2 is going on up
I mean, I
through
guess
there.
that's probably the only neighborhood this is coming near, until you get way down south. And then you're near Thornhill and Prestwick and Winfield on the river.
They already have 3 lanes. Well, then you're going back the other way, it goes down to 2, but that's,
There's no, the 3 lanes start to Old Alabama.
Right.
Coming north. Now, I don't think it'd be an issue. We're still in final design on the northbound from St. Ives up to McGinnis. And we've got a sound engineer under contract, we can have him look at it. But as far as the difference in sound, I don't think it'll be anything credible.
Can we look at their sound today before we were to add that to see if they qualify for any kind of noise walls to help mitigate what's happening there?
I can't imagine them wanting those ugly walls out there.
I thought you were selling them to Vicarage, that they were architecturally different now and you have options and can make them pretty.
Different project.
How
Over
does that
there,
impact the wall?
over there, we're talking about something that's really going to impact the backyard of these folks. There's no property owner that's going to be affected by this whatsoever. We're not going to be needing an easement on their property at all. There's plenty of right-of-way and common property out there in front of that wall for the.
We try the question a little differently.
Yeah,
Can
but
we
the
measure?
noise. Yeah,
Can
I
we
wanna
measure the noise so that
Yes.
being a good neighbor, even if
Yeah.
it's not a wall, that we know whether we need to take affirmative
We will.
action? And if
Correct.
so, you can pick from a myriad of options that we can work out with the neighborhoods, which may or may not be a wall.
Absolutely. Just cost
Council, other
money.
questions? This is just the only phase you wanted to go through, right?
Yes, sir.
Council, questions on this phase, which is what the construction bid's about?
Like, so I think Councilman Gray had raised when we looked at it the last time, I think we looked at it in September, that we were going to look at the full transportation plan to see the impact of what everything else is happening on this. I thought that's what we talked about. I don't know that it ever came back.
We gave you a modeling on all the T-Splosh work. It came back, it reported directly back to y'all through Kimberly Horn and their sub contracts.
So the T-Splosh list that you said was publicized last year, if I remember correctly when we did that, we agreed on a list with prices with no details. So the residents couldn't have known, because we had asked for that.
Some had details. We said those that were already designed, the public was aware of. Those that had not yet been designed would have to come back to the council for approval of a design.
Well, I don't
Therefore, the
know.
public would be
So the
aware.
questions that we're getting flooded with right now are, people didn't know what the designs were, and I know that they weren't on the charts, because the charts were just lists of what the projects were by tier. So I'm just trying to figure out how
So,
do we incorporate knowing what the impact of this is going to be? Because we've got, on States Bridge and Medlock Bridge, you have islands you just laid within the last couple of years you're ripping up again. Just trying to make sure that we're not doing this, and another 2 years from now, we have to completely shift it. Because this was momentary decision versus how's Forsyth County going to impact us? How's Peachtree Corners? How's Duluth, Alpharetta?
We're negotiating with Peachtree Corners, we're negotiating with Duluth, we're negotiating with Gwinnett County in three different directions, and we're talking with Forsyth County on several projects. Now, the most pressing issue is trying to get, in which I think we've been successful now, is to get 3 lanes from State Bridge at the river across over to PIB, so we can get some relief there, both AM and PM. Working on that now. I think we're there. Chris has actually drawn up a concept that we handed to Gwinnett County and said, wow, we can really do that. Comment from them. So I think they're moving forward with it. We've talked with Peachtree Corners specifically about getting down at least to East Jones. They're receptive to that. They're receptive to going all the way down to Holcomb Bridge with 3 lanes. It's just a matter of timing and funding with them. That's the reason that I'm not putting it as a high priority going from old Alabama to the river until such time I have a time that when they're going to start work and when they anticipate completion southbound from the river down toward Holcomb Bridge. That's going to be our relief southbound. Northbound, this section plus the section from St. Ives to McGinnis Ferry will open up a lot of capacity in the afternoon to help move that traffic on up. That will allow us to drop back and maybe do the 3 lanes from the river up to old Alabama, northbound only. That'll help move the traffic through there. That brings into another project that's in play there that we've met with subdivisions. Some of them are in favor of it, some of them are not. But you get into a situation where you have Prestwick and Winfield on the river. In order for them to come out now, they're coming out across 2 lanes, making a left turn. It's a challenge at times. As soon as we change that to 3 lanes, it's not going to be safe enough. So we're proposing doing half signals, one at Prestwick, one at Winfield on the river, where you would come out, you would turn right, go down, make a signalized U-turn and go back north. On Winfield, you would come out, turn right, go back up to Prestwick, make a signalized U-turn and go south.
Why wouldn't you put your Michigan U right there? That's kind of the prime reason you do one is
So
right
what
there.
now?
The Michigan through you. Why would you not put them in right there? That's kind of the prime reason why you would put them versus putting lights in.
those aren't lights.
You said signalized turns.
That's
We,
what Michigan U is. It's signal.
We brought the
No
Michigan
signal on that.
through you to this council, and quite frankly,
I'm not saying that
was not
intersection.
unfavorable. They were very unfavorable to the idea. So we
On that
kind of pushed that
intersection,
back.
but not further down. There were plenty of council members as well as residents.
That's what it amounts to, really. It's going to be a signalized U-turn, same thing.
Okay.
It's the same type of operation, but it's not quite a through U. These are half signals.
You're using a lot,
Where I'm getting
yeah.
there, because Winfield nor Prestwick would warrant a traffic signal at those locations. So we're trying to go kind of split the baby and get a half signal, which we think we got that approved through traffic ops, which will make it safely operation there. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult to get out of Prestwick and make a left.
Right, it's difficult to get out now.
I agree.
You have your life in your hands at certain times of the
You know,
day.
we're in an ongoing battle with GDOT, just trying to get some signs out there to say, do not block the intersection, and painting
Or white X.
the square
You need that too.
out there.
Do
And
not block
Yeah, I've
the
asked for
box.
that.
we've been trying to do that for some time. I'm winning. I'm not there yet, but I'm winning.
Well, you're also working with the residents directly. Is the council,
So you're saying that the Kinley Horn update that we got was the update that we had on the transportation? Because I remember them updating us, but there were no definitive responses. It was where they were in their process, how their process was working, what data they had collected.
Now, they specifically gave you the modeling on it and gave gave you what the most benefit was and the cost benefit of each one of the improvements. And
Yeah,
then-
but what I'm saying is, where are the full transportation plans that are completed, what's going to be worked on, what's the time frame? How's that going to impact different spots? That's
Are you talking about the sequence of
strategically
events?
strategically coordinating, because what if we do this and it either negatively impacts something upstream they're going to do, so we have to rip it up? It's not, it's doing it as a singular focus. I didn't get that out of the presentation that they gave us. As a matter of fact,
They're planners, they're not in the construction side. We'll plan the construction side of it, and we've given that to Justin. He has that now on the, showing what's happened in 6-month periods, how the construction would go in there and what would be under construction. Again, these are suggestions and recommendations to this governing body. You can change those as you so choose.
What I heard when we talked about the through you was folks said, why not just widen it one lane and let's give that a shot? We don't think we need the through you. Now you're before us asking for the widening by one lane that the citizens asked for. Seems reasonable that we would move forward with that. We also asked the citizens whether they wanted to do that via the T-Splost. We got an affirmative vote. We've got a minimally invasive design. If I'm hearing you, you're not even taking a full lane width even at St. Ives, which looks to be the largest choke point. Did I hear you correctly?
That's correct.
And you're not going to have to move walls. You're not going to have to fundamentally make any major reconstruction other than taking some easement that already exists. Is that what I heard?
Right. The biggest impact on any of the projects northbound especially is up where that swimming pool company is just before you get up to.
The only thing that I wouldn't say I'm 100% satisfied is the answer on noise, but I trust that you're going to keep measuring the noise, and if you feel it's appropriate to do some mitigation, that you're going to be a good neighbor and ensure that we make the right decisions to do the proper noise mitigation so we don't launch more noise on our neighbors.
We will do the noise study, but this is a GDOT route and a GDOT permit, and then we've gone to GDOT specs, and I'm confident that it will not trigger a sound wall for GDOT. However, we will look at it to see what the actual increase is. If it's more than acceptable limits, then we'll address that and be back to you.
well, before the increase, let's get a baseline to see, do they already apply for the need? Because I think there are some concerns, that they have some concerns of what's going on in there, what they're hearing.
Again, we have a sound engineer on staff right now. He's finished Jones Bridge Road, and he's working on the last part of McGinnis Ferry, and we'll move him down here and go ahead and get a baseline on that too. Why is
That'd
that?
be awesome.
Are we going to reach out to these neighborhoods and have collective conversations so we can,
We go through the HOA and through our communications department. They've got all the contacts.
so are you willing to set up a meeting if the HOA sets it up to meet with the residents themselves to talk about this?
You got a man sitting in the back of the room there that meets with me on most any issue with St. Ives, I assure you.
St. Ives Sport
Right.
liaison is sitting in the back.
Yes.
Right, I got that. So you'll do that?
I'll meet with anybody that wants to meet with us, yeah.
So how can we make sure that, because there's,
The guy's right there.
I know, but I can't, we can't have guests.
Oh, I'm not saying, but he's the guy, afterwards, outside, he's the guy who can make it happen.
You've
yeah.
just got a staff commitment, they'll do it.
So can we get those people, because there's a lot of noise out there and concern about what's going on and how it's going to impact them. Are we just going to approve it before they meet with them to have a dialogue?
No, we will not.
Well,
We will, it doesn't take that long to do the sound study, and anything that we did in retrospect would be after the project. It would not be a part of this project. It would have to be something that we'd have to work with. If it was called for a wall, then we're going to have to go with a decorative wall. Then we're going to have to match their wall, their columns, everything out there. And Ash is not bashful. He'll tell me if he's not happy. I mean, he has no problem with that.
Other questions on the project?
So I guess the question, Tom, if the meeting can get arranged, can y'all meet with them between now and the 27th?
Absolutely. We'll meet tonight if they want to.
Understood.
What do we want?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna cast any aspersions of how folks in St. Ives are getting their information. I'm gonna trust that they're gonna be smart enough to get their information from a credible source.
Yes.
Is there further discussion on this, further questions?
I don't have questions. I'd like to have a little discussion though.
Okay.
So we're seeing all these phases here, and we have these studies, these regional transportations. This project is not moving much pavement. We're not adding much. I don't have a problem per se. I'm a little concerned that it's going to back up and affect the St. Ives residents a lot because you're choking them right there. And
Right.
they already have issues, so I am concerned for
But
them.
we're already choked there.
They're already choked, I
You're
know.
choking,
Making it
you're
worse.
choking.
So
I
I
am
think the
gonna
question
choke.
I think you got to ask yourself always is, does it improve or hurt the situation?
So I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
So here we are with this little piece, but we have all these other pieces. And we said we were going to look at this comprehensively, I thought.
I did too.
And so I'm kind of like, what's going to happen? This little piece looks fine. But then we got the next phase and the next phase. And how does it all fit together? And then what's going, I mean,
But he's told us what the master plan is as it relates to 141. The essence is to go from 3 lanes of 141 from McGinnis Ferry down to, for now, Old Alabama Road. Is everyone clear on that? That's the mission,
Yes.
right? So we are incrementally getting 3 lanes, starting from, we started at State Bridge in Old Alabama, we worked our way up to 141. Now we're working our way from
have we decided
141
we
north.
want 3 lanes, this council? Have we decided that? I don't think we have.
Do we want to continue to have the traffic that we have today?
I don't know because I don't have the information. We're doing studies. Let's see the dang studies before we start doing this. If they're not doing anything down at Peachtree Corners, then there's no reason to do that, to back that
Traffic's
up.
still coming. I mean, Lenny,
If they
It's
choke
backing
on,
up
if we
into
have
the
choke
river.
points, Mike, there's no reason to widen the lanes. It's not going to, then I'd say let's shut them down so people don't want to cut through there. I'm just saying, we haven't decided as a council what we're doing all the way. That's all I'm saying. It's just something to think about.
I honestly thought we'd had the discussion about 3 lanes from McGinnis Ferry and down multiple times.
Are you kidding me?
No,
Have
no,
you
no.
been to these
Can I
meetings?
finish? Back in January 2016, we had a work session item where it was talking about flex lanes. Well, we went to GDOT, flex lanes weren't approved.
Correct.
So we're going to permanent lanes. It's fundamentally the same thing, flex lane or permanent lane. So,
well, how you use it is the only difference.
yeah. But, and I remember, before, when I was running for council and when I was running for council in 2014 in the special, along with Bob, I'd heard about this concept back then, so this is even
saying
before I
it's
came
not.
on the
I'm
council.
not saying
It's not a
here's
new.
the fundamental
it's not-
thing
not
that
a
I'm
new
saying
issue
it's
by
not a
any
new
means.
issue.
Lenny, here's
We
the
haven't
thing,
decided
here's
that
the thing that I'm still, that I struggle with, okay? Here's the facts I know. The facts I know is that you've got 70,000 cars a day going down a road that's designed for 35,000 cars.
I'm not
The
disagreeing.
citizen's perspective that I've heard is, don't do the through you. Great. Don't do a major intersection improvement, because that blows up the whole area. Great. They said they wanted 3 lanes. Now when we go to move forward with 3 lanes, it's just sink the lights. You can't sink your way out of getting double the capacity of a road that's designed for 35,000 cars. At some point, you have to take affirmative action to increase the capacity
Okay,
to
so
get those
let me
70,000
finish my
cars
point.
through.
Let me finish that. Maybe we don't have 70,000 when they do Medlock, when they do McGinnis Ferry, and they're going to try to take them over to 400 and all the way to 85. And maybe if we don't open this up, then the people are going to start going here and here rather than down through
So
the
you
center
want
of
to
our
take the
city.
Vancouver approach, which
I don't wanna
is
say
if you
anything.
make it painful enough, they will go somewhere else.
I'm not saying it's going to be painful enough. Maybe we do. We haven't decided that is all I'm saying.
I guess here's my point. I'm a citizen of Johns Creek. Today, I currently go to Dunwoody almost every day.
I understand that.
I take 141. And the problem is that it takes me forever to get through Johns Creek. Pretty much once I'm done with Johns Creek, the next backup I've got is leading up to 285, to get onto 285. In between, I'm pretty good. Coming home, I'm pretty good till I get to Johns Creek. Whether we like it or not, the growth has happened north of us. We can't control it. We can't stop Forsyth from continuing to have residential neighborhood after residential neighborhood after residential neighborhood. Because the truth is, they're just like Johns Creek was 10 years ago.
I agree. I'm not disagreeing with all that. I'm just saying we don't have all the facts. So how do we know?
What more facts do you need that will
Are we
actually
funding
change the
regional
answer?
studies? And we funded so many studies on this that I haven't
Right.
seen.
So do you want to halt all movement until then? Is that your goal?
Not halt, Mike. I want to see what they say. Maybe they're going to tell us a different story.
That's kind of what I'm
Why,
saying.
why do you want to make a decision when you don't
I
have the
think
facts?
this particular one is intuitive, I guess, is my
This
my
little
issue.
piece here probably is, but I'm saying,
Well, this is the piece we're talking about.
but we shouldn't be talking.
We're piecemealing it.
Shouldn't we have a better idea? Be proactive than reactive?
Right.
Shouldn't we have a plan in this city?
It's $1 million.
Maybe that's why we're. yeah.
So first of all, it is disparaging to continue to say we don't have a plan. We have a master plan. It's published. You may not like the master plan.
I'm not-
We have an existing master plan.
I thought it was obsolete, and that's why we were researching.
We're doing a whole new study to look at that again, I thought. We're doing regional
Every
studies.
single project in our T-SPLOS list came off our master transportation plan.
I understand that.
Nothing's changed, except for the design. This is the one that's designed, engineered, and ready to go. You either want to move it forward or you don't.
And we had a discussion with some of the residents about, the same exact issue coming out of St. Ives just 5 months ago, where it suggests we have some kind of trip built into 141 just south of the Medlock Bridge entrance that would trigger the light, and of course GDOT wouldn't allow that. I mean, to me, that was resident generated in St. Ives, and now what we're doing here is exactly solving that problem.
My question. You said that the phase from Old Alabama to the river would depend on Peachtree Corners, and they don't have the money or anything. So that tends to be like, Old Alabama's moving good now. You take a right now in the morning to go back home to Prestwick, and you completely stop, and it can take you up to 10 minutes to get a mile. When 3 lanes go back down to 2, we're back to where everything's just going to stop again at Old Alabama.
Well, it's exactly the way it is.
We have gone as far as, we have done a concept all the way down to East Jones
Well, that's going to.
and handed it
that's
to
going have
Peachtree
county
Corners.
GDOT.
And they're in favor of it. Now, as far as how they're going to fund it, they have some SPOS money, Gwinnett County has some SPOS money, and GDOT has some money. So we're still negotiating that. And I agree that there's not a whole lot that I could do to raise the priority on that road until I've got someplace to put them. Until we have that widened down further where I can get the 3 lanes, get them on across the river. We've done what we can do. We've evaluated the bridges on both crossings in the Chattahoochee to make sure they were whole and designed and no problem having 3 lanes traffic, both north and south, east and west on State Bridge. So we've done that. The only place we're having to deal with is a pedestrian crossing on the north side of the westbound State Bridge Road. Rest of them, we can put the sidewalk in there and all. So we've got designs as far as concepts to move the project forward. But again, that's the reason we chose to phase it. The point north from St. Ives up to McGinnis Ferry, that will open up that road so folks can get home. I can't get them south until somebody does something south. Just like on the section, we're not going to work on the section from Medlock on State Bridge over to the river until such time Gwinnett starts on their project from the river over to PIB, so I've got someplace to put them. It doesn't do us any good. I can build a real nice parking lot, but I'm trying to phase our money and our funding to tie together to a game plan, a master plan that we've presented to you. It's in this particular item. If you look at all the phases, that's what we've been preaching, for a long time now. The last time you saw it was, I think, in October, when you saw all these phases. And the explanation I gave you then is the same I've given everyone now. Until such time that I have a place to move the traffic to, there's no sense in spending the money and trying to widen it. Now, as soon as we get a go-ahead from the other folks, then we can do it in conjunction with them. We'll be ready to go. We'll have ours there. Now, most of this stuff is such minor construction that it's not a big deal. You can just about do it with what we've got on a concept. I mean, it's not that much construction if we can get them to jump in there and help us with that other lane, so we can get them out of the
I mean, this one phase will significantly help both the Medlock Bridge and St. Ives HOAs get out of there in the morning, which I thought we had resident support from months ago.
I think we do.
Yeah.
So that's not my point. I agree with that. I'm just thinking at some point the council should take this up as a whole topic and instead of going phase by phase. I think that's on us from this point, because Tom's given us a plan, but we haven't accepted the plan, and we haven't even decided to look at the plan. So, I mean, I guess we're going to do it phase by phase is what you guys want to do. So,
I'm not saying we shouldn't talk about 3 lanes the rest of the way on Medlock Bridge in its entirety, not in a phase. But I thought this particular phase we had agreed on long ago in concept. We're waiting on specific engineering and the bids.
I've had some citizens call me lately and say it's my fault because I'm not controlling the input and the output. So I told them that I had a proposal in for Forsyth County to cut it down to 1 lane south and 5 lanes north. So far, I've had no response.
No, I agree, Tom. You have a plan, and I do agree with that. I think it's time for the council to take this as a whole. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
And what does that look like? just so we can
We
tee
should
it up.
decide whether we want this to go 3 lanes all the way up and down, and we need to look at the effects of what the McGinnis Ferry widening is going to do. I think we need to look at this as a master plan and see what's going to happen. I thought we were doing
So-
studies to look at that.
So when do you
Oh,
think?
we
is
funded
the-
studies.
When do you think is the right time to do that? When
When
those
we have
studies
the
are completed?
information.
And what's the earliest the council could take this up as a comprehensive discussion?
We can just resurrect the study and the modeling that we've already done and give it to them, if you'd like to have that presentation again.
March, April,
End of March or April, you think?
Probably April.
yeah, that we have much better idea about where everything
Completion of it.
sits.
It's two different issues. That's a planning document. I
But-
give you an engineering document.
Tom, that's a little dismissive of that work.
No, I'm just saying, there's planners and doers.
So you're ready. Here's the thing. You're ready.
Which one are you?
He's a doer.
Tomas, you're ready. They're not. So they're the long pole in the tent. So what I'm hearing is that pole is ready in April, right? March? April?
End of March, beginning of April.
Okay. Can we
Is it
take?
complete and ready for recommendations?
Yes, this is local money.
Can we take, would you be ready, do you think, so we have an extended work session as the first meeting of April. Would that be too early, or could we take it up and dedicate that work session, that extended work session, because this will take some meaty conversation time, to transportation?
But this needs to be done by the 13th, is what I'm seeing.
Which?
This one, phase 1.
Different issue.
Oh, okay.
You said you want to take up the meaty conversation. I'm
Yeah.
trying to create the opportunity for us to have that meaty conversation. So,
Well, I think the question of the timing is that there's a bid out on this, that we've got a deadline.
I'm not,
I'm saying, I'm not
go
saying
with me
that
here. We're
council
going to
has
get through
do
this
it.
one.
I'm just saying is that they are connected in with each other in a way of you got to figure out which one you want to do first.
We're only being asked to do one, phase one.
Right, but what I'm hearing, I think, as I understand the conversation, is that the transportation plan, which y'all will get reported back to you in April, is going to have a vision of sort of how all the changes impact each other and the overall land use plan. So if the question is, I'm not sure I want to do this segment until I understand the impact of everything,
It's not-
you're not going to hear that till April.
I think what I heard
In
is,
theory, that would be great.
Yes.
but what I'm also hearing is folks understand this one's good enough. It's the rest of the picture that they want to sit back and talk about.
Yeah, then if that's the case, then the timing is no problem.
So council, what I would propose is if you're comfortable enough with this phase and this phase only, we move forward on this phase, award this construction bid, we'll tee up the first meeting in April where we'll bring together his engineering plan. What'd you say?
Doers.
Planners. We'll bring the planners and the doers together and we'll have a comprehensive discussion about transportation. We will dedicate what is it? It's 5 to 8, so it's a 3-hour window, 2.5-hour window to talk about this, which seems like a pretty good amount of time to dedicate it to it.
Sounds
Seem
good to me.
reasonable?
Yes.
Do you want us to bring back the modeling we did on all the T-Splosh projects, including?
You bring the
these?
doer stuff, they'll bring the planner stuff.
This is planning stuff too. That was the planning, and we
But
did,
how about you doers and planners get together and maybe have
Talking about.
a discussion too?
we do. We're ready to start a
I'm ready
rocket
for you
ship
two to
and
play in the
cheese
sandbox,
loaded in
brother.
a horse and a buggy.
Mayor
Let's
Foster,
do it.
I apologize for interrupting. That April the 10th, Corinne just reminded me, that was the Passover that we needed to talk about, that meeting on April the 10th.
So,
Just to let
but
you
a
know.
meeting in April is going to have a
3-hour work
a
session.
3-hour work session. So whenever that meeting occurs,
Yes, sir.
and we will talk about that, but whenever that meeting occurs,
Thank
we'll
you.
schedule it for that.
Okay, thank you.
So with that, is council good with that meeting?
Yes.
Thank
Does
you.
council want to move this particular thing forward, this project forward?
Yes.
Yes, Lenny?
Yes.
Yes, Steve?
Yes.
Ms. Davenport? You can just nod since you can't speak. Okay. Councilman Rogers?
I want to hear how the conversation goes with Tom Black's group of the residents.
But they're going to have that meeting, if St. Ives will allow it, they'll have it between now and the 27th, and we'll have it on the
We're
agenda
not
for the
voting on it
27th. Given that, I'm going to suggest it not be
Yeah,
on the
not be
consent
on the
agenda and
consent,
it be on new business.
Right, I agree.
Good?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
great.
That'd be great.
Next item, please.